So now let's look at a way of writing linear equations that is handy to do in these intercept situations. So if you have some numbers for A, B, and C, where X and Y are still your variables, and you write it in this form, you say that's called the general form. So just a quick example of this is if you have something like Y equals 2x minus 15. This is not general form. This is, you could say this is written for y in terms of x, but it's not general form. Then if you wanted to write it in general form, you could just move the 2x to the other side, because this says that the ax and the by should be on the same side. So if you subtract 2x from both sides, you can write this as negative 2x plus 1y equals negative 15. And so you can see what your values of A, B, and C are here. You have a negative 2. The y by itself is just 1y, and the c is negative 15. And that is now general form. Here's an example where general form will be useful. Pause it for a moment to read it right now. And now that you're done reading it, let's go on and give it a shot. So if we want to write an equation relating x and y here, there's some things you need to do with a word problem like this if you want to build up a mathematical model of the whole thing. Is think about all of the different quantities involved. Quantities just means a word for numbers in the problem. There's some quantities we can think about is the number of radio ads. There's the number of TV ads. These are what's given. If he buys X television ads and Y radio ads, then the number of radio ads is Y, and the number of television ads is X. So those are some of the quantities involved. What else is going on here? There's the cost of the radio ads. There's the cost of all of the TV ads. And what's given is $150 per ad, per broadcast of the ad, and $50 per ad on the radio. So what is the cost of all of the radio ads if they cost $50 each, and you're getting Y of them? That's going to be $50 per ad multiplied by the number of ads. That's going to be 50 times Y. The cost of the TV ads, well, you're getting X of them. Each one costs $150, so this should be 150 times X. So now the total cost, we know that he's going to spend on ads altogether is $3,000, because it says he has $3,000 to spend. So we want this total cost to add up to $3,000. And there's two ways we can write it. We can write it as the sum of these two things, or we can write it as $3,000. So that gives you your equation. That 3,000 equals 50y plus 150 times x. And that is the answer. Now, to make a table of values, I'll let you make your own table don't use the same choices of x and y as me, but I'll give you an example of what that might look like here. Here are some numbers I picked. I'm also going to find the x and y intercepts in this case, because might as well, that's what this section is about. So these are just the numbers I picked. You can pick any numbers you want for x and y to make a table. So let's plug in x to see what y will be. If x is 0 here, this equation is going to say 3,000 equals 50y, that's the unknown part, plus 150 times 0. And 150 times 0 is 0, so we just get 3,000 equals 50y, and you can just divide both sides by 50 here, and we're going to get 60 as a result. Let's think about what that means for a second about this. This is saying 0 is the number of TV ads, so the y-intercept here tells you that if he gets 0 TV ads, then he can buy 60 radio ads. Let's do the same thing over here to find what x is if y is 0. And that's how I get that the x-intercept is 20. So that means if the manager at Albert's Appliances, maybe it's Albert himself, if Albert spends $0 on radio ads, then he'll have enough money for $20 worth of TV ads. And that's what the general form is useful for. It makes it so you can pretty quickly find the intercepts. And it's pretty straightforward, I think, for situations like this, where two things can vary somehow, but they have to add up to a certain number. You want to have something like something plus something equals a constant number, 3,000 like that. And you could also plug in x equals 5 and x equals 10 to find these other values of y. And that's what I got for those answers. To graph it, I'll let you graph it on paper. I'm going to use software to graph it because as long as I have a computer here, I can do it better with a computer than just by drawing it on here. So here's what it will look like. So on your paper, you'll have to draw axes like this. You'll have the point 20, 0 over here, 0, 60. It should fit all of those. Now I'm going to make a point right here for the y-intercept and a point over here for the x-intercept. And then I'm going to draw a line segment between them like so. And there is a graph of that. And yeah, you can see it has those intercepts. The point 545 is right here. We got that. We got that. The 10, 150. Oh, that was a mistake. That's not supposed to be 10, 150. See, this is why you want to check your answers. This should be 30. So that point would be right here. And there are our points.